Let us try to design a cantilever retaining wall. The dimensions of the retaining wall is given here. The thickness of the base and the wall is 250. There will be a toe and there will be a heel. The thickness at the base of the wall and at the top is slightly different. The height of the wall is 1.2 meter. A surcharge is applied at 10 kN per meter square. There will be soil backfill acting on the retaining wall, and the property of the soils is given here. Its unit weight is 15 kN per meter cube. The internal friction angle is 30 degrees. The coefficient of friction is 0.4, and also the bearing capacity of the soil is 50 kN per meter square. The concrete used in the retaining wall is grade 20. It has the unit weight of 25 kN per meter cube. The concrete cover is 45. As for the reinforcement bar, specified yield strength of 500 Newton per mm square is used. The bar size is 12 mm. As the first step of the solutions, you are asked to check the stability of the wall in terms of the overturning, sliding, middle third, and also bearing pressure at the ultimate state. You may pause the video for a while for you to work out the solution. This is a typical layout of a retaining wall, and there will be active pressure acting on the retaining wall. To solve these questions, first you need to determine the active pressure acting on the retaining wall. To do so, you need the coefficients of active pressure. It is determined by using these equations, and it requires a data of phi here. This is actually the internal frictional angle, which is given with 30 degrees. Substituting the angle in the equations, you obtain the Ka equals to 0.33. By using these equations, you are able to determine the P1, P2, and P3. The P1, P2, and P3 is referring to these positions. P1 is referring to the active pressure due to the surcharge alone. P2 is a combined conditions of the surcharge and the active pressure due to the earth by the depth to the surface of the base. As for the P3, it is determined to the bottom of the retaining wall. You may use a table to help you with the computations to check for the stability in terms of the overturning and sliding. Before that, you need to compute some moments and loads acting on the retaining wall. First, you determine the load acting on the retaining wall. For the retaining wall here, it constitutes three main parts. It is mainly due to the reason that the width of the wall is different from the bottom and the top. This makes it to be a triangle and a rectangular combination in terms of the shapes. From here, you obtain 1, 2, and 3 elements, which is represented by W1, W2, and W3. The weight of the portion of the retaining wall is to be multiplied by the unit weight of the concrete. And here you obtain the value for W1, 2, and 3. The lever arm here is referring to the centroid of the shapes in comparison with the rotational point here. That means W1 is referring to the centroid of this triangle and the distance from the centroid to the rotational point. As for W2, we are referring to the centroid of the retaining wall and the distance to the rotational point. Same goes to the base. We are measuring the distance to the centroid of the weight of the base. With that, we are able to generate the rotational moment by multiplying the column of loads with the lever arm. A similar process of calculations is done on the soil. First, you need to determine the area of the soil, which is this area on top of the base of the retaining wall, and also by multiplying its unit weight. Its unit weight is given as 15 kN per meter cube. This gives us the loads due to the soil. Then the lever arm is determined by multiplying the distance from the centroid of the soil to the overturning point here. With that, the moment is obtained. The surcharge is an UDL. To calculate the force of the surcharge, it is obtained by multiplying the UDL with the width where the surcharge was acting. The lever arm will be the centroid of the surcharge to the rotational point of overturning. The moment is obtained by multiplying the load and the lever arm. All these loads are the vertical loads. As for the active pressure, there will be horizontal loads. The forces due to the active pressure is quantified by the area of the active pressure, which can be transformed into an equivalent force, and the area of the active pressure to be transferred into an equivalent force. The lever arm referring to a rotational point here, it will be this and this. That means the lever arm for the active pressure for the surcharge and the earth is different. The respective moment is calculated by multiplying the horizontal force and its lever arm. With all these results, we are good to go to check for the overturning and sliding. First, you need to determine the factor of safety for the overturning. The factor of safety is influenced by the force, whether it is favorable or non-favorable. All the vertical loads are considered favorable. The wall and the soil are the permanent variable. Therefore, the factor of safety is equals to 0.9. As for the surcharge, it is favorable and QK, and therefore it is ignored in the system. The force caused by the active pressure by the surcharge and soil are non-favorable. Therefore, they have a higher factor of safety. Surcharge is a QK. Therefore, the factor of safety is 1.5. Soil is a GK. The factor of safety is 1.0. The overturning referring to the moment. The moment here is to be multiplied with the factor of safety. It will give you the moment in this column. The negative value here is used to represent non-favorable conditions. The summations of the moment here, it will give you a total moment of 21.9, which is positive value. That means there won't be any overturning. Next, we check for the sliding conditions. The factor of safety to check for sliding is 1.0, 0, 1.5 and 1.35. Again, all the vertical loads are considered favorable to sliding, and all the horizontal load is considered as non-favorable to the sliding. Among the forces which is favorable to the sliding, there are GK and QK. QK does not contribute in resisting the frictional force. With that, all the favorable forces to the sliding due to the QK is equal to 0, and due to the GK is equals to 1.0. The vertical loads are to be converted into frictional force by using the coefficients of frictions, which is given as 0.4 in the questions. The forces here is to be multiplied with factor of safety and also the coefficient of frictions to obtain the frictional force here. As for the force caused by the active pressure, it is non-favorable. And for QK, it is 1.5, and for GK, it is 1.35. The horizontal force are not to be multiplied with the coefficients of frictions, as it is not to be used to generate frictional force. With that, the sliding force is computed by multiplying the load here with the factor of safety. The negative value here represents the sliding force, which is non-favorable. Now we check the sliding conditions of structures by sum up all the forces acting on the retaining wall. It is found that the total forces is positive, just merely pass. Then we know that there is no sliding on the retaining wall. From the table, we know that the retaining wall does not undergo overturning, nor it undergo the sliding.